Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of Misknits Mesterværker. This is usually a Danish channel, but for the sake of the knitathon, we have decided to record an English episode featuring some of our most worn knits. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about what we most love to knit on. Before we dive in, I think we're going to do just a brief presentation. Some of you might recognize me from my English channel, Traveling Misknits. I'm Pia. I am a Danish knitter and knitwear designer and a huge fan of this online knitting community. But Ina, maybe some of our non-Danish speakers haven't seen you before. So would you like to introduce yourself?
I can try. I do not have so many English words, but I think I managed to make a presentation of myself. My name is Ina, as Pia just told you, and I am 57 years old. I live here in the mainland of Denmark, Jutland, 200 kilometers from you, Pia, or something like that. 2 bridges. Yes, so there is a lot of sea between us. I work on a daily basis as a teacher in the Danish gymnasium. I do not know what is similar in England or in the
It
United
would
States.
be the equivalent to a high school slash college. There's a bit of
Yeah,
overlap there, but
something like that.
the big
And my major is history and Danish literature. And then I knit a lot. And I have knitted for so many years I can't count anymore, but I was 10, 11 years old when I started. So you do the math and find out how many years it is. So yes, I do also knit a lot.
Yeah, and you're also
Yeah.
a knitwear designer. I even think maybe you are wearing one of your own designs.
I think you oversell my skills as a designer, Pia. I have designed some small scarves, but not something spectacular or very difficult. And this one is for free, in the matter of fact. And you can see in my English spelling, I think in the English pattern, it's free on Ravelry. You can find it there. It is Ina's Klud. That I do not have. You can see that English is not my first languages. So I think I have some newer patterns that is better written in English. But this is for free, and I have knitted many of them because it is a design where you can use a very little amount of yarn. So if you do have some leftovers, it is easy to create a small scarf. Yes, so this is cashmere, and I wanted to use every meter, and it's very, very small. Yeah.
Yeah, we are gonna link both any particular patterns that we talk about and also your Ravelry store in the description box below the video.
Yes. Yes.
But
And
Ina,
this is for free.
some of
Yeah.
your most worn knits, what are those?
Oh, when you have knitted so many years as we do have, I think it's difficult to say what do we wear the most. But you and me, we like the simple and plain things to wear, and there we are similar. So I sit here in a very basic cardigan, and I'm in a period in my life where I really like cardigans. Because I think it's easy to layer and to take off, and it's easy to put over a t-shirt. And yes, you just look like you are. It is meant to be when you wear a cardigan. Also, if you wear it opened and so, eh? Like here, I have only 3 buttons, and that's it. So I'm very fond right now of cardigans. but I have been many places in my life what I like to knit. So yes, plain simple cardigans, but I think I make it special because I do design a lot of my cardigans myself. To my body, to my measurements, to what I like, to the yarn I have in stash. So for me, it is special when I try to make my own design, my own take on a cardigan. And then the plain thing is not so plain to knit anymore, but still is plain to wear.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's what you do a lot is you will either find a garment that you own already and like the fit of, and you will try to recreate that, or you will just
Yeah.
find your measurements and knit according to those. So you
Yeah.
don't typically use a pattern for your cardigans, your
No.
famous cardigans. Yeah, that's very frustrating for the rest of us.
Yes, many have asked me, please write a pattern. But as I said before, I'm not a designer. You are the designer, Pia. You know how to upscale and downscale sizes. I'm not there. And I think it must take a lot of time to do it as well. And I also have my daytime job, and it's not, I do not have all the knitting time in the world. Not that I say that others do, but I think it's a big job to create a pattern for many sizes and to be size inclusive and all that. I think it's very difficult.
For sure. Well, speaking about cardigans, I pulled some of my most worn knits, and I just went back 1 year. What have I worn the most the last year? And it was kind of easy because I was packing a suitcase to go away for a couple of weeks. So I mean, the choices made themselves. What did I need to bring to feel comfortable while away? And I brought two cardigans. I brought my Christmas cactus, the Advent pattern from last year. And then I brought my perfect little cardigan that I have in 4 or 5 different versions now. I took this one for the trip because I love the colorway. This one is from the Rerum Natura, the Ulysses base in the colorway Printemps, spring. So maybe that's why I thought that needed to go with me on a spring trip. But yeah, just like you, I love the cardigans for the layering thing. It's so nice to be able to layer, and it's nice to be able to wear your knits in many ways. So you can use a simple plain cardigan with a skirt and some heels, and you look very put together and ready to go out. Or you can wear it with the favorite yoga pants and heavy socks and just curl up on the couch, and you'll look great either way. So probably that's what we love about the cardigans is the versatility of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I especially love my plain cardigans. I have cardigans with all sorts of patterns and color work and stripes, but the ones that I reach for on at least a weekly basis, that's the very simple ones that just has a great fit. They won't fall off your shoulder. They won't tilt so that they go up and back and droop in front. It's just a good fit that you can rely on, even if you dare to move during the day.
Yeah.
So that's definitely
I
some
think
of
it
my
shows
most worn pieces.
is your cactus,
Oh, it's so
Christmas
beautiful.
cactus. But mine is a bit different
Yeah.
because I did not use small skeins from hand dyers. I just took what I have in stash of leftovers, and it gives me some 70 vibes. My mother could have worn this in the 70s, But I do also have two kinds of home design cardigan. This one is a raglan with a what call it? It's not a slope neck, is it? What is called? Not a both
Scoop
neck
neck,
either.
yes. A scoop neck or a crew neck. So the rounded
Yeah,
neck.
something in between, I
Yeah.
think. And I do have nearly the same in this pale one, and it's very very simple. But my buttons, I don't think where should I show them, are not so simple. So this is the fine detail with this simple cardigan. It is the buttons here, and it's from a Danish what is called. She make the buttons herself. What is called?
A small maker who creates
A
the.
small maker, yes. Fine detail buttons. So, yes, plain and simple and a raglan, but narrow sleeve nevertheless. And it's because I do not increase for the sleeve as often as I did for the body. And I think, was it, she is from Corfu? What was it? What was her
That's
name?
Ivana. You're talking about Ivana from the Republic
Yeah,
of Italy.
yeah.
Yeah.
She gave some instruction to make a raglan where the sleeves are not so big, and the body bigger than the sleeves. So I just follow the principles of that, but with a bigger neck, as a neck like this one. So that's the one of them, and then I have the ones you have here. It's European shoulders here with the set-in sleeve. I make them with short rows to make the cap here, the sleeve cap, and it's a lovely fitted sleeve. Yeah, and some decreases for the waist also. This one is, it's only leftovers I have to make, and then I have my pieced weg scarf because I wanted to use all up, and I did. So here is a matching set.
I want to
Yeah.
ask you if you want to talk a little bit, and I know in the pattern for your Pistweg scarf, you talk a lot about this color theory and how to place stripes in groups rather than with regular intervals. So maybe you want to talk just a little bit about that because I love that method for when we're using up scraps. I mean, if I have scraps in, say, 4 colors and I start making a sweater and I decide, oh, each stripe needs to be 10 rounds, then I might
Yeah.
run into trouble. But you're doing
Yeah.
this brilliant thing where you're placing your stripes and it looks absolutely gorgeous. And I know there's a trick to it.
Yeah, it is. It's not my idea. It's not my idea. It is called in Danish gestaltlåne. It is laws about something close and something far apart. And if you think of that, we use it in when we analyze a poem. You can see, do some verse in the poem, are they meant to be read together? And then there is a space and something else is coming. And sometimes you get surprised when you read a poem because it's very, what's called, you get, hvad hedder det at blive overrasket?
You get surprised.
Yes, I get surprised. Wow, this is saying that. I didn't expect it to be that would come now. But you can use the same principles when you're knitting and knitting with colors. You see, my sleeves are not identical, not at all identical. But somehow you can see it matches nevertheless.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not identical, but they're definitely matching.
Yeah, yeah. And you make sure that you have some colors who is very close. Then your eyes read it like they are meant to be together. This is a part and they belong to each other. And then you make a space and you make a part, a space and a part. And then your eye and your brain calms down because you can see, oh, they are in family. I have to read them together. So then it's okay. And then you can use your scraps. And then it's easy to use your scrap. And you do not have to count, and you do not have to match probably everything.
No.
Because you read it.
Yeah. So you have multiple stripes being read as the mind, as one stripe.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You express it much better than I do. But yes,
brilliant.
Exactly. I have done the same in the Yule cactus.
Yeah.
Also because it was small leftovers and I could not make the rather systematic stripe that you describe in the pattern. I did not have yarn enough for that, so I have to go wild. So I go wild, but in a regulated manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow the laws for nearby and far apart, and then everything is okay.
Really nice. And again, you do go into more depth about this in the pattern for your Pistvik scarf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because also the Pistvik, and I don't know how to translate it, but it is suddenly gone. Can we translate it with suddenly gone?
Pistvik, that's a Danish expression saying all gone.
Yeah.
And it does refer to the fact that all of your scraps can be gone when you make them into
a beautiful
scarf.
Also, there's no one of these stripes repeat itself. They are all different, but the eyes read them as one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not difficult, not at all.
But it's really cool.
Yeah. I also sell this pattern on Ravelry.
Yeah, we're going to link that as well.
Should I say commercial?
No, but it's that particular pattern is definitely worthwhile because you also get this color theory. So we're going to link in the description box.
Yes.
I have one of my most worn knits that really surprised me. And that's the one that I'm wearing. This is the cat number 6. And you might say, well, Pia, it's a plain raglan sweater, super cozy with a nice fit. That's not surprising that you would love that. You even made it in a charcoal gray, almost black color. The thing that surprised me was the hood. I made the hooded version. And to be honest, I made the hooded version only to have a sample for the pattern. And as I was working on it, I thought, I'm going to gift this. I'm not going to wear a hooded sweater. This is going to be a gift. I am wearing this thing on repeat. I am using it with everything. I am using it obviously with jeans or with yoga pants, but I'm also using it with a skirt for going out. I love the contrast of a very relaxed and kind of sporty sweater and then a nice skirt. I wear it with jeans. I wear it with everything. It's the thing that I reach for probably most of all of my knits. And that is so surprising to me because, as I said, when I was knitting it, I was like, it's a gift. I didn't have anyone particular in mind, but I definitely did not have myself in mind. So what do you know? But yeah, it's cat number 6. It's from the fall knit-a-thon last year. And it does come in this hooded version that was such a surprise to me. I think I've worn the hood up once, and that was because it was raining and we were going from the car to a restaurant. Other than that, I never wear the hood up, but I love that it's there. I really adore it. The other version, the crew neck version, still has it has these lace strings like you do on a hoodie. And the neckline is also created to sort of mimic a hood. But yeah, I almost never wear the crew neck version, but this one, it's become one of my darlings, and I would have never known.
If
So
I could express it in Danish, Pia, I think there is a psychological explanation why some of our items, the ones we never thought we would ever wear or use, are the one we used. And I think I'm a lack of words in English, but I think it sometimes also is if you buy a very expensive yarn and you really have chosen a pattern and it's very spectacular and you think, oh, it's going to be the best, you do not dare to use it because you are afraid. You have to, oh, I have to take care of it. It is for a special occasion, and the special occasion never arrives.
true.
But the things we think, oh, that's nothing, and yeah, it's just for fun, and no, the yarn is not that expensive. We use all the time because we're not scared of it. Does it make any sense what I'm
I
saying?
think you're right. I definitely have some precious knits that are way
Yeah,
too precious for me to wear them because
yes,
either the yarn was expensive or maybe the process of making them was horrific. And it can be anything. If I categorize a sweater as a precious knit, I'm not going to wear it, which is ridiculous. It's like
yes,
in the
yes,
old
and
days where you would have these two sets of plates, one set for everyday use and then one that
yeah,
come out for Christmas. Uh,
yes,
it's ridiculous. Use the things.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
have not brought them with me, but I here in the early spring, a month ago, I needed a pair of trousers,
Yeah.
and they are not meant for a screen. They are horrible. Leftovers, funny colors to place together. I make some embroidery on them and so on, but I have used them nearly every day. Not now. Now it's too hot outside, but I use them. And it's just because I'm not scared of them. They were meant to be for fun. They were meant to be for, oh, I do not mind if I get knees in them or anything else. So, yeah, I have worn them a lot here lately. Not now, it's too hot now. But I also think when we're knitting, sometimes I love to knit very difficult things with new techniques, things with lots of stranded pattern or some new design features I have not tried before. But it's not necessarily what I want to wear. I want to wear, as we started this episode, with the more plain things. And maybe it's because we are here from Denmark, where everything is a bit normcore. Is that
Oh,
a word in English, or is it just here in Denmark we know what
I
normcore
think we
means?
adopted that from the English language.
Yeah, okay. Yes, of course we do. But if we are the center of the world here in our small country, we might have invented the word normcore. No, of course we did not. Sorry. um, so, I, as a knitter, I like to get some new things to try, and also if I have difficult to crack a pattern, what is it? I can't understand it. I have to crack the code. I must do it. It is something about my ambitions as a knitter, I think. But when I'm finished with it, that was it. And then I take the more plain and simple things, like like a gray cardigan. So simple, so
Yeah.
simple, but easy to use, easy to take on when I go into my work and so on. So, yeah.
The simple stuff gets all the wear. Yeah, quick wardrobe change because the next thing we want to talk about is all of our vests. Because just like the cardigans, the vests are so versatile, again, for layering. So I'm using my vest with nothing underneath it because Mallorca. But vests are great, either on their own or as you're wearing yours with a t-shirt, with a button-down shirt, under a cardigan, under a jacket. You can just always sneak in a vest. So definitely vests are a great part of my wardrobe. And actually, and I had not thought this through, but this is my cat number 4. So this is all about the knit-a-thon knits. But I'm wearing my cat number 4. And of course, it's almost black, so it's very, very difficult to even see the structures in it. It has some cables and some structured stitches, and it's super difficult to see because it's black and the camera doesn't love the black, but I love black. And yeah, definitely also one of my most worn knits. And if a vest is the right kind of vest, I will use it as a t-shirt, just like I'm doing now.
It
Um,
is very smart to have a vest under a blazer
yeah.
because many blazers are so slim fitted in their sleeves, so you don't have a lot of fabric that pulls up and is very annoying. Is this also one of your cats, Pia?
No, that's the granny vest, isn't it? I think it's called the granny vest. You tested
Yeah,
that
I
for
tested
me.
it
Yeah,
many years ago. I
yeah,
think it's many years ago.
it
It
is.
was a warm summer, I remember, but 2020 maybe, or I
Maybe
don't
the
know.
maybe the
I don't
pandemic
recall.
summer, it could have been. Uh,
Yeah,
because I remember I was inspired by my father-in-law. He would always
yeah,
wear these knitted vests, and he would
yeah,
always wear them bottomed up.
yeah.
So for that one, you can't open it.
No,
It's a fake button band that's just attached to a vest that is knitted completely in the round. Because
yeah.
let's face it, we don't wear the vests open. We wear them closed all the time. So why go through the pain of all the pearls? Definitely vests play a big part in my wardrobe at least.
I knit the one you wearing then there, but it was not a cat number at that time. I think it was a free pattern you have on
Yeah.
your blog site.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
yeah,
It originally it was something that I just made for myself. I just wanted something special and I knitted, and back then I didn't create patterns, but I had this lifestyle blog where when I knitted something, I just put my notes on the blog. And it was not worked through in any way or form, but it's still available, unfortunately, only in Danish. But the version that has been updated, and there's been some tweaks and also some more than tweaks, and there's
yeah.
exercises, and that's the cat number 4. But
I
yeah,
made it for a friend, and I made a V here. I simply made a V here like this one. It is because my friend is a big, a size or two bigger than me, and she had other proportions. So she's very nice in a V shape. So I just make a V, but else it's the same as yours.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, it is on my Ravelry page. People can see it there. Yeah.
All the plain sweaters.
Yeah.
That's the backbone of my wardrobe. When I don't know what to wear, I will pull out one of my plain sweaters. And at least lately, I have started knitting them in colors rather than having all of them in gray, black, and white. So this one I just finished. This is my Aurora in this wonderful color. This is actually also the Rerum Natura Ulysses. So yeah, this is something that's very typical for me, is a plain sweater with just some nice details. On the Aurora, the nice details are the ribbed panels here, but yeah, just a well-fitting sweater with no hassle, no nothing.
Hmm.
I have knit so many colorful color work sweaters and I love them and I love knitting them, but I don't know that those are the ones that I wear the most.
I also created sweaters for myself sometimes without any pattern, but with a lot of wishes for the design. And this one is very much like the one you show. I also tested the one you just show. What was
You
it? The
did.
name was?
Aurora.
Yeah, okay. I tested that
You
some years ago. Yeah, but in a
tested
plain page.
most of my patterns, actually. That's how we got to know each other. No, actually, I was secretly stalking you on Instagram before that. I was completely starstruck when you wrote in answer to a tester call. But
And vice versa, Pia. Vice versa. I also haunted your designs and style and everything. So we are just on the same page here, I think. But this one is also a very plain sweater. And the only thing I play with here was my edge. I'm very fond of my edge
yeah,
here. I
your
call it a
sandwich.
sandwich.
Yeah.
What?
Your sandwich
Yeah.
line that you make. It's so
Yes.
pretty.
And yeah, there's nothing to it. It is a size, what's called price. It's a budget-friendly item, I think. It's a drops tweed
Yeah.
held together with a drops kid silk. So it looks a lot more expensive than it is.
Yeah.
And every time I wear it, people come to me and ask me what is the pattern, and I can say it's just a simple raglan I have constructed, and the only thing is my sandwich edge. And then I also have made it a lot of here. I have created this small triangle here with short rows, so it does not make a bulk here. And I know sometimes it looks very nice with a bulk here or some
The little line, it can be rather
a
elegant.
line.
It will
It
broaden your
is,
shoulders, but it's not.
yeah, and it
Uh,
can look very nice. But here I try to avoid it. So also very simple. Nice for jeans, nice for a leather skirt, nice for black trousers and so on. So I have to knit another one
do you
because
want
I
to
use
explain, Ina, do you want to explain how you make the sandwich edge or the way that you go from the ribbing into the stockinette part? Because it looks so neat.
Yes, I do have three ways to get the look of a sandwich edge. This one is the most regular sandwich edge. And I can create it when I do, it is button, no, it is top-down knitting, but I do not have the neck ripping at all. I only have the war edge here. And then I pick up stitches, and on the back side I have a thin thread of yarn, and then I collect, picking up the stitches as I used to do for a ordinary ripping knitting from the raw edge and up. Nothing in that. And then I knit maybe 2, 3 or 4 or maybe 5 rounds of stockinette stitch. And then they have to rest. The stitches are there. And then I go to the back side and pick up. I have the line. I can see where the threads are. I pick up the legs, and then I knit the same amount of stockinette rounds. And they have to cover the ugliness of the raw edges, So you have to pick up a little bit longer down than you want to, maybe 2 rows down. Yeah, because you want to cover where there could be some nasty steps in your knitting. So
Yeah,
2
sometimes
rows below that.
a stitch will be looser when you have been doing
Yeah,
some increases.
exactly.
Mm.
So you have to knit so many stockinette rounds so you cover that. And you do the same on the back side. And then you make the 2 pieces together, and then you just knit between, not between, knit through both needle stitches. So you end up with having all the stitches on one needle again, and then you knit the whipping.
Okay.
And it's pure and simple. That's the one way to do it. If you want to knit the whipping first in your top down, you can make double knitting. You knit the whipping, and then you make double whipping. It means you knit one and make another, knit one, make one, knit one, make one. And on the next round, you knit one and slip one, knit one and slip one, as you do when you're double knitting.
Mm.
And then, of course, when you have done that for maybe 2, 3, or 4 rounds, you knit the 2 together. So you do not have the double amount of stitches again. It is very nice, but not as nice as the first one, I think. But it is easy to make it, I think. And you get the look of it.
Mm.
But of course, if you are very close, you can see there is a difference. And then there is the last one I tried on a cardigan, and it is to make an I-cord and pick up stitches in the I-cord. And I had designed this one last summer, where I made an I-cord. It's my own pattern. And I had tried to do, as you do in your perfect little cardigan, to make not a continuous, what was the raglan shape?
A compound
Yes,
raglan.
compound raglan. And it might not be seen this dark yarn, but here is an I-cord. Yeah. And then I pick up stitches in the I-cord.
Yeah.
And in my Danish podcast, I do not know if I succeed, but I have promised some viewers on the Danish podcast to show how I pick up stitches in my I-cord. So maybe in my solo afsnit, my solo episode, there is a small tutorial where I show it. So it is also possible to make an I-cord and then pick up stitches and knit down and pick up stitches and knit the neck up. It looks the same, but it's three different ways.
That's what I'm doing on my Christmas cactus cardigan.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start, rather than casting on, you start by working an I-cord. And actually, I do mention you in the pattern because you gave me that idea and I love it.
Yes.
Especially for a cardigan, it is lovely because an I-cord is a lot less stretchy than a regular cast on. And all the structure that you can get to the neckline of a cardigan is just welcome.
Yeah. And especially a cardigan with a round yoke.
Yeah.
Because I think when I look at round yoke cardigans, they have a tendency to slip the front sides down and to look weird. Yeah. They do not look so good at the shoulders as if you have a square shoulder or a compound raglan you have in your perfect little cardigan. There is a better fit, I think. Than a round yoke.
The trick, if you have this pattern with a beautiful round yoke cardigan and you really want to knit it, then a little trick is to move some of the increases up. So you increase really fast, because if you look at a plain round yoke, the line is going to go here. So
Yeah,
what you want is to make it start a little bit earlier so there's space for your shoulders. Often also when people find that their knits are making this fold that we talked about, the fold that can look very elegant, but maybe you don't always want it. Very often it's not a matter of adding extra short rows. Very often it is about moving some of the increases so you have more stitches over your
yeah.
shoulders, because if the fabric is stretched too thin over your shoulders, it's gonna fold in here. So
But we do also have something like the same type of body. We have broad shoulders, we have straight shoulders. So what looks nice on your shoulders probably also look nice on my shoulders.
true.
Because I think there is
Don't have
body
the
type
feminine
around
slope.
you is good. Don't you think
I think
that
so,
there
because
is body type?
if you have a more feminine body type, perhaps than
Yeah,
you and I have with the sloping shoulders, you're
yeah,
gonna have a better fit, even if you don't move the increases. So
yes.
you're probably right. It is a lot about body type and
Yeah,
how
but I
you
think the I-cord it helps the round you to stay in place.
for sure.
So and it's also looks very nice, I think. It's a nice
Yeah.
little bit of design element that weighs the
Yeah.
design.
It elevates the whole sweater, especially if it's a very plain sweater, you really notice this little detail.
Yeah, for
So, Ina,
sure.
we've been talking about some of our most loved knits when it comes to what we actually wear. But is that necessarily what we enjoy working on most?
I think what I love to work on is depending on my mood and depending on how busy I am in my life outside my knitting space. It's so disturbing sometimes, the life outside my safe knitting space.
I know.
So I think it's very difficult. We talked about it before. What do we talk about in this um, what's called podcast? Also podcast in English. Yeah, okay. What should we talk about in this podcast? And I really walk all day and think, what do I like the most? And it's very hard for me to say because it depends on so many things what works for me in this moment, right here, right now. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I have it's a pleasant to knit from my head, to be creative, to use colors, to use leftovers, half square skeins, and so on. And I love it. But sometimes the possibilities are overwhelming, and I go in and I go back instead of go forward, and I can't do anything. I'm paralyzed. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes when that happens, it could be a release when someone asks me, would you like to test this one? And I feel calm and I say, oh, yes, let me test this. Because then someone else has decided you need that now. And then, that's nice. Sometimes I feel, oh, I would like to test this, but there's not hours in the day. There's too little time for me to do it as I like to do it. So yeah, but you also know, Pia, there is knitting for TV, there's knitting for radio, and there's knitting for chatting with other peoples.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah,
I always have a social knitting project, which is something really, really simple. And I will say for those, of course, I like to just knit the body of a sweater, just going around and around. Something like this is perfect social knitting. But I also really, really like working on your little scarves. It's
Yeah,
actually often what I will cast on if I don't really know what to do. Maybe I need a palette cleanser of sorts. If I've just been knitting on something major or I have been finishing a lot of things and I just need a little break. Then I will cast on one of your little scarves. And it's actually funny because I can't wear them the way that you can. You look incredibly cool with them. I look like I try too hard. So I almost never wear them, but they're precious gifts. Um,
yeah.
so actually, my next cast on is probably going to be one of your little scarves.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. This
Yeah.
one is the most popular of my small scarves. It's called Let's See in English, Let's See Klud on Danish. So I have tried to translate the Danish name to an English name. And yeah, it's just a small little scarf, but it's very, very easy because you have so fine, not a lace pattern, but a picot.
Yeah,
It's called
I
picot.
have a Pico.
Maybe there's also a picot in, is it also a picot in English? I think it's French.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, a
have a
picot.
Pico edging that helps you count the rows
Yeah,
between your increases. Actually, I made
and
one of those for my mom just before she died.
yeah,
She loved
I
it.
think it
And
was an honor that I was with her in the last minutes of her life, not alive, but in her place here on Earth.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
now she's in the sky,
Yeah,
probably, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So that was an honor, I think so.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think
I use my small scarf, so
you do. You use them a lot and you look
yeah,
incredibly cool. I don't, but I don't care
yeah,
because they are amazing gifts. So all is good.
yeah.
You'll have
I do not have as many as I have knitted because, like you, Pia, I use them as small gifts. Or if we're going out for dinner with some friends and they have invited and they always come with flowers when they come here, I can have a small scarf for the hostess instead of a flower.
yeah,
Mm?
they're
Or bouquet or something like that.
they are
So,
perfect
yes,
for that because
but I have
it's
seen you have knitted a lot of what's called stockings,
sock.
strømper,
I'm a sock
socks.
knitter. I'm a sock knitter. Who would have known?
Maybe I also end there. I have bought an item so I can walk and knit at the same time. I have not started yet, so I do not know. But then I think maybe I come back to knitting socks again. I knit them a lot when I read at the university because it was cheap and it was not so big, so I could have it in my bag. And when I listened to all the clever people at the blackboard, I could knit at the same time. So I have been there, but there's so much
I
water in the
never
sea
had a sock
after that.
knitting era. This is a first for me because my mom and my grandma, who taught me how to knit, they were both like, oh, socks are so complicated. So that stayed with me. Oh, socks are complicated. I am not going to
Yeah,
try that. So it's completely new for me to be knitting socks. And I, I mean, I think I'm a sock knitter now because I really love wearing the homemade socks. So actually, one of my own patterns that I will often cast on if I need something that is interesting, also has some social knitting in it, and doesn't take too much yarn is my calazzo. This is
yeah,
such an old pattern of mine. And
yeah,
I have, I think, 5 or 6 of them. It is, I love it. It doesn't take a lot of yarn, and you have all the interest of the yoke with some structured stitches and some lace. Some of the versions, I make the lace in a contrasting color. I'll make them short sleeved for the summer or long sleeved for the winter. And if I have like 2 skeins of hand dyed yarn, then I'll get some something to hold it with, and I can create a calazzo. So that's probably what I would call my go-to pattern when I just need something, something
Yeah,
that is familiar yet interesting, and then with loads of social knitting, and preferably either on a budget or giving me a chance to use up some of the skeins that I have. I will say,
yeah,
even with a single skein, if I knit the lace portion in a contrasting color and I do short sleeve, then I can actually get a calazzo out of one skein of hand dyed. You know, these single skeins that we buy when we're, yeah, feeling overly inspired and, oh, this is so pretty, but it's also
yeah.
really expensive. I'll just get one skein. And then we look at all these one skeins, and I can't bring myself to knit socks with these hand dyed.
No,
Um, so my palazzo is my go-to to make something that I can actually use. But of course, there's always the little scarves. You can always make a scarf out of one skein of hand dyed as well.
I think the one I have knitted most time is not my own pattern, and it was nearly the same time I discovered Ravelry, and I discovered that knitting after English pattern was not that hard. And I have it in, I think I have knitted 7 of this one in many colors, and I have calculated to other gauges and so on, but you can see them on my Ravelry page. It's an Olga boo. I can't express the name, but the model or the item is called Ønske, and
Okay.
I had to bought a book to get the pattern back then. And all the money was worth it because I've had knitted it so many times, and it's so simple. I have You can't see it maybe, but
Yeah,
it has a very
we can see the
interesting.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And I know that Filculana has made in another gauge in a much more lightweight yarn than this one. This is on needle 10.
Wow.
Um, One who looks a lot like it,
Yeah.
but it's not this one, Ønske. It is so simple, but when you wear it, it does so many good things for the look of your shoulders and your core and everything. I really like it. But it is also from another time in my life. I was younger and I was smaller than I am now, but still in the winter, in the Danish winter, I feel well dressed when I wear them. Still, even though I'm not the same as I was 10 years ago, but it still just look good. So this one is the most knitted one, but I don't think I return necessarily because I still have them. So 7 is enough, I think.
You would think,
But
yeah. So miles and miles of stockinette, that's definitely soothing. And actually, Ina, when we are sitting during the knitathon watching this, chatting with hopefully a lot of lovely knitters who have managed to stay awake and who are there for us, I will be working on miles and miles of stockinette. I will be working, hopefully, still I'm working on my cat number 7. I am gonna knit it out of cotton yarn, so I don't know what my elbow is gonna think about 24 hours of working with cotton. But chances are that I will be knitting on stockinette stitch, just plain and simple. And I know that you also have some yarn for the cat number 7. Oh, that is gorgeous.
yeah,
What color
it's a
code?
called three three. 1,650.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it a lot because it is a living color. There's maybe there's some gray in it too. Maybe it be colored on a gray
I
color,
think I
this
think
red one.
it's dyed on a dark heathered base.
Yeah.
It's
So
beautiful.
I hope too that I'm knitting on a cat number 7. The pattern is soon to be released, so I'm waiting patiently for
It
it.
is headed your way very, very soon. So we can both be knitting on some plain, soothing stockinette stitch for the knitathon because
Yeah,
I have for some of the knitathons engaged in more intricate patterns, but it's always been up on the yoke, except
yeah.
for this one. But this pattern is simple. But I know myself for the knitathon, I don't need anything complicated. It's okay that it's complicated for the first couple of hours. I can do that. I'm very gung-ho when we set out. But then I slowly gradually, I will slide into a sugar coma and just be laying there knitting on something very simple while watching podcast after podcast after podcast and thoroughly enjoying myself. So
It
that's
seems like it's a full program. Isn't it a full program?
it's a full program. There's a couple of hours in the night where we don't have anyone, but other than that, we have all the entertainment lined up for us, and I am so excited. I'm sure when we're sitting here chatting on Sunday, we're both going to be all filled up and so, so, so happy. Like Christmas Day, when the bulk of the celebration is over and you're just enjoying the aftermath of it. So I think it's
I
about
also hope.
time that we say goodbye now.
Yeah.
I think we've been chatting for quite a while. But
And
thank
I
you
hope,
for so much for doing this.
yes, and I hope you bear with me because English, I read English pattern, I read English book. A lot of my study at the university, um, I read books in what's called, my major was history. Many of the books were in English. And then you just have to use a dictionary for the first 20 pages, and then it was easy to understand the rest of the book. But speaking it is something else,
You,
completely something else. So
you
I hope
did
you
a
bear with
marvelous
me, and
job.
yes, I hope you do understand what I have said. I really hope so.
I'm sure everyone understood, and I'm sure that everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. So thank you so much for being a good sport. I kind of try to promise not to spring something on you for the next knit-a-thon.
Yes, I hope so. French the next time, maybe?
No. Okay. Thank you so much
Okay.
for watching. It's been
Yes.
a pleasure and enjoy the very last bit of the knit-a-thon.